Hi, this is Paul Sanneman with Business Success Tips, where you're going to learn how to make more money in less time and have more fun. That's not a guarantee, but a hope. Just kidding. So it's like, here we have Chris Scully this morning. Now, Chris is literally Action Management Pros. That's his company. He's a coach for contractors. So, Chris, tell me a little about your background and what makes you qualified to coach contractors.
Well, to start with, I've got a really long history of being in management and really started with my first job. Within a few months, I was in a supervisory role before I was even 18. And really every place I've worked, other than the businesses I've owned, which of course I was the boss there, but I've ended up in management in a really short period of time. And I've done a lot of training as a result in the field of management, organization. I've studied what is the equivalent of an encyclopedia of management know-how.
You think people still remember what an encyclopedia is?
Well, I don't know. That's
I remember Encyclopedia Britannica, but that was an old guy. It was on the shelf, right?
Yeah. And we had
that.
We had that when I was a kid, and yeah, I guess I date myself when I say that because they're hard to find now.
That's right. They probably now have antique value, right?
Yeah, probably. But to give everybody an idea, I counted it up not too long ago, just looking at the different things I've studied, and it added up to something like 18,000 pages. 8,000 pages of management know-how.
Okay, so the question is, I think I've got 140,000 hours of coaching, whatever.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot.
Right.
So I want to know, what insights can you give? You got all this, smarts in your head and all this learning you've done. What insights can you give contractors, and why contractors? Why not coach, doctors' offices or dentists or somebody else?
I could, but other people do that. And this is a space that I felt is very underserved and very needed. The last 8 years or so, I've been working with automotive repair shops, and there's a lot of similarity between contractors I've talked to and the auto shop owners I've coached. And the story goes pretty much like this. You're a skilled person at what you do, whether it's painting or plumbing or hanging sheetrock or framing
fixing
a house,
cars, right?
Fixing cars, right? And you get really good at it, and you see how your boss is running things, and you think you could probably do it better, and you think you can make more money than being an employee. So you go out and you start your own business, and you very shortly thereafter realize that running a business is actually different from fixing a car or building a house or remodeling a kitchen.
And let's assume you have no skills. And my saying is, you can stay in business as long as you can afford to pay for your mistakes. And some people, that's not very long.
No, so it's not.
How do you like? I'm a contractor. A typical guy. I was a framer or a French carpenter. I started my business. I now have 2 employees. I got a couple of jobs from my old contractor I knew. Now I'm doing a couple of jobs, and I used to make $100,000 a year. Now I'm making $40,000 a year, working twice as hard.
Right. So here's the problem with that. And this is something that is just a fundamental fact. A business can only grow to the level of skill of the owner of the business, period. And by skill, I don't mean framing a house or doing a remodel. I mean management skill.
Okay, so wait, we're not going to go, but he's not going to go back and get his MBA. I actually had I have 2 clients that actually have MBAs from Stanford, but that's not normal. So
okay, well,
go ahead.
Let me just say that MBAs, for the most part, are not taught to be entrepreneurs. They're taught to be employees of companies like Deloitte and consult on M&A or be corporate executives. That's a whole different skill set than being an entrepreneur.
Right. And so what are you going to say? What is the skill set of being? I'm curious your take on this one. Yeah. What is the skill set of being an entrepreneur? What does it take when you ask yourself these questions, whatever the questions are you think you should ask? Yes, I qualify as an entrepreneur, or no, I'm probably going to screw it up and fail.
Well, one is the determination to succeed.
Yeah. How do I know, right, what it takes to be an entrepreneur?
Well, I'll give you the qualities that I see, right? One is that determination to succeed. You have big dreams, you have big goals, you have a persistence about getting through whatever you're going through and coming out the other side. Very, there's the old saying that necessity is the mother of invention is very, very true of entrepreneurs. You need to make your business go, and you're going to work to make it go. Now, the really successful entrepreneurs understand that business is a team sport. It's not one guy does it all by himself and becomes a billionaire. That isn't how it works.
Well, I use an example here, Chris. When people say, what is Elon Musk's greatest skill? I say he's an awesome team builder.
Absolutely.
That's why he's a billionaire.
That's right. And even when you're just starting out and it's just you, whether you recognize it or not, you have a team. You have your attorney, if you have one. Your accountant is part of your team. Your partner, your significant other,
whether you like it or not, she or he may be part of your team. That might be a choice, right?
And here's one that people will, they tend to push back against, but I'm going to say it anyway. The IRS is part of your team.
And they take a big cut. I'm not sure what they do for it.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. See, because all of these influences and people that you have to deal with as part of being a business owner, part of being an entrepreneur, if you recognize that they are part of your team, whether or not you like the arrangement, they're part of your team. And here's another one that's really important: detractors. Okay,
so give me some tip. I mean, detractors. I don't know, baseball, football, beer. I don't know. What are detractors in your brain?
Okay. Anybody who's saying that you can't make it. Anybody who is, and here's one. And I actually posted a video about this on my TikTok today. People who tell you work too hard, you really ought to take a break. When was the last time you had a vacation? Okay. Those people are not your friends. And now, unfortunately, you might call them your friends.
They may think they're your friends, right? They're
right.
Gonna fight. He's my friend. He's trying to stop me from working so hard and having a heart attack at 32. So, every time I meet with him, he tells me I'm crazy and I should not work so hard, right?
Exactly. And what those people are doing is they're trying to rein you in, and they're trying to hold you back because you're going into a space and operating at a level that they can't deal with.
That's right. Mediocrity loves company, right?
Exactly. And nobody who's successful listens to that.
That's true.
Now,
I've been accused of that more than once myself. So
yeah, but there is a second side of that coin, because see, those statements about you work too hard, blah, 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 there's a teeny tiny grain of truth in those. And here's what it is. It's not that somebody is working too hard, but some people, because they don't know how to organize, they don't know how to build a team, they're working more than they want to.
Right. Now, well, they're working smart. I mean, not smart, they're working hard, right? Which is different.
Right. And that's another phrase that drives me nuts. Work smarter, not harder. Why the hell can't you do both?
Right. That's true.
You can do both, and you should if you want to be successful. And what happens is, going back to this sort of origin story that I was crafting for people who get into business because they're passionate about something or they have a certain skill that they feel is marketable, is that they default to working hard, and they have to get to a point, for people like you and I to actually have businesses, they have to get to a point where they realize that they don't know everything and that they need help. Right. And when you have that realization and you start getting help and you start building a better team, that's when your business takes off.
That's true. Well, I mean, I've talked to several coaches and they go, I don't have the ability to motivate anybody or to get people to do stuff. I have the ability to tell them what to do once they ask me, and the ability to, if they're coachable, so to speak. But if I can't make anybody do anything, which I think is true, don't you?
Not necessarily.
Okay, tell me why.
You leverage their own goals and desires.
Okay.
So, and here's another one. I'm bucking current business jargon and business buzzwords throughout this conversation, I think.
Okay.
The idea of SMART goals is also something that unnecessarily complicates something that's
Well,
actually really simple.
talk to our audience about what the SMART acronym means, because some
Okay,
guys might even know.
right. So, I'm gonna yeah, let me just pull up my little notes, because I always forget a couple of these because it's one that I disagree with so much.
Okay, well, that's good. At least you know where it is, right?
Yeah, I have it. All right. So the idea of SMART goals is, first of all, it's an acronym, and it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-based. Okay.
Okay.
Now, let me ask you one question about those things. Where is desirable in there?
It doesn't work in SMART. It doesn't work in the acronym. There's no
No,
D.
it doesn't. And what motivates people is their goals. So I could run a goal through this acronym and still come up with something that doesn't really get me excited at the end of the day.
Right. Well,
or at the beginning of the day.
A lot of work on motivation. And I used to think, Chris, that it was, maybe 60% motivation, like the why, and maybe 40% how to. After being an old guy and doing this for 40 years, I'm convinced it's 99% why and 1% how to. Because if someone said, the way in my book, I talk about the difference, the way you tell between a motivational goal and a skills goal is you put a gun to your head and you can't do it, it's a skills goal.
Right.
Put a gun to your head and you can do it, it's a motivational goal, right?
Yeah, or you're going to find a way. No matter what, you're going to find a way because it's that important to you, right? And that's where this whole idea of SMART goals just goes out the window for me, because you're right. People that are motivated are gonna like scale mountains, cross rivers, cross oceans, whatever it takes to get to where they want to go.
Right.
But here's the thing. Some people have a hard time with formulating a goal. And I think a good coach addresses that first.
That's true.
So for me, I talk to a client and I say, all right, let's talk about your goals. And often what I hear with new clients is, la da 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 da. I want to make $3 million this year. Okay. Well, what's that going to do for you? Why do you want to make that $3 million? Is that going to be something that really changes your life? And if so, how? And very often in that conversation, I find the $3 million doesn't mean anything to them.
Right.
It's, I want to be able to pay my crew better. I want to be able to provide a good living for the people that work for me. That's why I want to make that amount of money.
That's right. Okay. I can clearly say that I don't know any billionaire that's in it for the money, period.
Right. You're absolutely right. There's, some people are motivated by doing something that nobody else has ever done before.
Right. But, I think if money tends to be associated with survival, and, somehow survival is not an exciting goal. I'm going to get there, kill myself. And if I really work hard, I'll be able to survive. Like, that's hardly inspirational. And I look at people like Elon Musk, anybody, we like those people or not, they are totally motivated by some higher, whatever it is. It might be God, it may be consciousness, it might just be making a difference in the world, it might be running the planet. I don't know. But it's 99%, it's not money.
Right. And I want to give the audience an example of what we're talking about, because I think it really speaks to the power of goals. Okay. About 4 years ago, I was coaching the owner of a body shop in, I forget, somewhere in the Midwest. I can't remember where it was exactly, Indiana or something like that. And we got on the subject of goals. And as I was talking to him, he said, look, I have 2 full-time jobs. I said, okay, talk to me. Tell me about that. Well, one is my shop, and the other one is that I'm a pastor at my church. I said, okay, so do you want to keep doing that and do both of them full time, or where do you want to go with that? And he said, no, I want to get my shop into a position where I don't have to be here all the time, and I can devote more of my energy to my ministry.
Right.
And I immediately just had to kind of go, that's an awesome goal.
But it is, I use a story sometimes of like, there's a pyramid, right? There's 3 people working on the pyramid. They all look the same. Interview the first guy. He says, what are you doing? I have this crappy job and I have to make a living, and it's in survival of, working on the pyramid. The next guy says, I'm a skilled craftsman. I know what I do. I'm being fairly compensated for my great skills, and I'm a great craftsman. The fourth guy says, I'm building a monument to God. They all look the same, but they have entirely different jobs.
Exactly. And the other side to that is, which is also something that I've learned over the years, any goal is better than no goal. So there are people, unfortunately, who really don't have goals. And if their business, if they happen to have a business and their business isn't anything more than it's a job that they own, but it's still a job and that's all it is to them, that's why. And so you got to get them to set some sort of goal, something that they want to work on, even if it's not the best goal possible, in order to unstick them, to get them out of that rut. And very often, before I even, get a client under contract, just in having that conversation, I can often get them to look at things differently than they were looking at before, just by asking questions about their goals.
Well, now give me some examples of the questions you would ask somebody to help them create a goal or the why they'll do what they need to succeed versus give up.
Well, the first thing I tend to ask people is, why did you start your business in the first place? What was your?
Well, I got tired of being, my boss was an idiot. I got tired of being a framer or a carpenter. I think I know more than he knows, and I can do a better job than he does. I don't make more money. He's making all this money for not doing anything, so I might as well start a business. I mean, that's not uncommon.
No, it's not uncommon. So did you start your business because you thought you wanted to be able to run a better business, or you wanted to make more money? Which was it?
Yeah, to be honest, probably because I want to make more money. Because I mean, he's making more money than me. He's not working as hard, so I figure I can do what he does and make more money.
Okay, and what does it mean to your life to make more money?
Well, to make more money, I mean, I'm tired of survival. I'm tired of, I want to have a nest egg so I can be financially secure. I'm tired of my wife yelling at me about stuff she can't buy, my kids yelling at me about stuff they can't buy, and I have to make decisions. All my decisions are based on money, not what the hell I want to do.
And what do you want to do?
Well, I mean, I'd like to go to Europe. I'd like to have a bigger home. I'd like to contribute to my church. I would like to make a difference in the world. I just don't want my eulogy doesn't want to be, life was a bitch and then he died. I mean, so I want something that's, I want to make a difference, and I'm not sure how to do that.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about wanting to make a difference. What part of your community or your world do you want to make the biggest difference in?
Well, I want my family to be supported. I want, the community. I would like people to be respected in the community. I want people to think I'm a good guy. When I walk down the street, I want people to go, oh, there's Paul. He's a nice guy, versus, oh, there's Paul. I mean, I want to have the respect of my community, my family, and I want to make a difference, just not be another guy with a job.
Got it. You keep saying you want to make a difference. So how would you want to make a difference? What does that look like to you?
Well, I would like to contribute to the construction industry. I'd like to make a difference, or a significant. Let's say I'd like to make a difference and pick a number, 100 people's lives in some significant way, not just, okay, he did my kitchen or whatever he did, like, nice guy. But I'd like to really make a difference in my clients' lives, and my family's lives, and my friends' lives. So I want to show I want to feel good about waking up in the morning and making something happen.
That's awesome. You should definitely do that. Now, let me ask you two questions. If your business keeps going the way it is, will you be able to achieve that?
You sound like Dr. Phil. How's that working for you? Like, the truth
Yeah, well, I
is,
could say that, but
I've been in business, 3 years, and things haven't changed much. The fact that it got
okay.
worse in some cases.
So is this goal of being able to make a difference in 100 people's lives important enough for you to change the way you go about doing your business?
If it's not illegal or immoral, sure.
Good. Okay. Because in order to do that, you have to have a successful business. And if your business keeps going the way it's going, it's not successful enough for you to achieve that, because if it was, we'd be talking about all that stuff in the past tense because you'd have already achieved it.
That's true.
So let's focus on that. Let's focus on putting your business into a condition that it provides the energy and the wherewithal for you to make a difference in 100 people's lives.
But I've read a couple books, I've watched a couple podcasts, and I'm not sure how to do it actually. I mean, I work harder. I show up at 6 a.m. every day. I show up to work. I tell my employees what they need to go do. Can't seem to find, listen, admit it, I can't seem to find enough clients of the kind that want to pay for what I'm willing to want to do. And I certainly can't find enough employees that are willing to work as hard as I am. Until I can do that, it seems like I'm spinning my wheels.
Flip the script. Change your mind first. Everything else will follow.
Okay.
If you decide that you can achieve what you want to achieve and you get the right help, then the rest will follow. And that's why coaches exist. Okay. Pick anybody who's successful in arts, sports, just name somebody.
Let's see. I just watched who's that soccer player? Just did a thing on Netflix. He's a famous soccer player. I think
Messi.
He wasn't mad, but let's say Messi. Any good soccer player.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that much about soccer, but why not? Does he have a coach?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Muhammad Ali had a coach. Had a few.
Right.
Serena Williams, Tiger Woods. I could just keep going down the list, right?
Who's Elon Musk's coach? I gotta hire that guy, right?
Well, see, Elon Musk has a team and he has people that he goes to for advice. Make no mistake about it. People that are successful build good teams around them. And they do get advice from people they think are smarter than they are.
Okay.
And that's what you need to do. So, and that's really an important point, because if you knew everything and you could do everything, then we wouldn't be having this conversation.
That's true.
But you don't. And when you recognize that, then you start to look for people who do have those answers and you put them on your team and you work with them and you take their advice and you follow it.
There's a whole bunch of, I know, there's a whole bunch of business coaches out there. How do I know? Let's say, okay, I drank Kool-Aid. I'm kidding. I'm willing to hire somebody. I got a budget of pick a number, $2,000 a month, whatever the number is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll put that in my budget. I'll put that as, I need help.
Good.
How do I find the guy that's right or woman that's right for me to get where I want to go?
Well, that's an interesting question. And I was just talking to another coach who happens to live here in Savannah as well about that exact topic. And the truth of the matter is, you got to go with the person that you feel the most comfortable with, because there's a lot of really smart people out there, but there's also a lot of different personalities out there. And my style might not be the right fit for you, but somebody else's might
if I'm
be.
an atheist, I'm not going to go with a Jehovah's Witness, right? Or something. It doesn't matter. It's like,
well, yeah.
I have to have somebody that has a belief structure. If I'm a Christian, I say a Christian. I should go somebody whose fundamental belief about the way the world works is similar to me, right?
Yeah, you could go that way, or because there's another angle to that. If we take it out of the realm of religion anyway,
Okay.
But the other angle is go with somebody who has different views from you, but at least personality and communication style gives you the confidence that they're able to help you.
Right. Well, I would say, I think you have to go with somebody you respect.
Sure.
I mean, you got to go with somebody
100%.
that I think that is guy is ethical and moral according to my ethics and morals.
Yes.
I think what he's done is great, whether it's, building a $100 million company or having a zillion coaching clients. I have to respect that person. I would think that's really important, right?
I agree. One of the things that I do that, at least in my experience, many coaches shy away from is I address clients with absolute candor. I tell them what I see, whether they like it or not, whether I think they want to hear it or not, because if I don't do that, I'm not being authentic. And
That's
you
true.
don't know if you can trust me if I'm not going to do that.
I mean, somebody that lies 10% of the time, you never know when the 10% is, right? It's scary.
Yeah. And the social niceties of, trying to say things in a way that don't offend somebody is to some degree or another lying.
That's true. It's a
if
need
you're
to
gonna,
know and nice to know syndrome, right? You're withholding information.
right. And that's, I've seen a lot of coaches that make it more palatable to give criticism. I just go like, no, dude, you're full of it.
I mean, I think one of my clients said, Paul, the reason I pay you so much money is you're the only guy that tells me the truth.
Right. And that's, as a coach, that I want that reputation. I want people to, whether they hire me or not, I want people to feel like when they talk to me, I told them the truth. And maybe the truth wasn't something that they were ready to handle. Maybe, and there have been people that I've said, look, you know what? I'm not your guy. With what you have
Right.
going on, with what you want, or something else about the person makes me feel like the relationship won't work, I will tell them flat out, I'm not your guy.
So Chris, who is your guy? Maybe people listening, they should like to know, who is your guy? Who's a woman? Who's the person who you think could best use your skill set as a coach to help them?
People who are willing to try once. If I give them a piece of advice, I'm all about implementation. I'm all about results. I'm not here to give people advice and then have them not do it, because I think that's a waste of their time, their money, and my time.
Right.
I want them to try. Now, I might tell you to do something that you might think I'm crazy to ask you to do that. One of the ones that I get a lot, especially in this industry, is when I tell somebody they need more office help. But office help doesn't make me money. Yeah, it does.
Well, I have a recruiting company, right? And the biggest argument I have, it's like, if an employee doesn't make you money, you shouldn't have them, right?
That's right.
So why would you hire anybody? And the people I know that do the best have the most employees, right? So if employees were bad, why, you can't make money without by yourself. It's really hard. You got to help the team, right?
No individual can produce as much as a team can, ever, right? And but a lot of guys have that mindset, right? So if I say, you need to stand up, walk around your chair 3 times, sit down and write an email, and they go, well, that's stupid. And of course that is stupid. That's a dumb example, but it makes the point. I want, you need to have the frame of mind as someone being coached, as if you're hiring somebody for their knowledge, their skills, then you have to be willing to try what they're asking you to do at least once, and do it honestly before you say it's full of crap.
Right. Well, I think that comes with the quality of being coachable, whatever the heck that means, right?
Yeah, and that's a really nebulous term, and I kind of stay away from that as much as possible. And I'd rather more specifically describe the relationship. Another thing that is absolutely important for anybody who's considering hiring a coach is that they want something to improve. They might not even be able to put their finger on what's wrong with their business.
Mhm.
Most people can't. But they know they want something to improve. They've got to they've got to disagree with the status quo. I don't like the way my business is going. I don't like the way my life is going. I know that if it keeps going this way, I'm going to be miserable. I may be out of business. I may get divorced from my wife because I'm so stressed and I take my stress home, whatever it is. If somebody's in a frame of mind like that, and I've had people whose business, at least on paper, was pretty successful. It was profitable year after year, was growing, but they were so stressed out about keeping it going and about all the problems that they had to do running their business that they were miserable.
Okay, so what's the difference, Chris, between positive stress and negative stress, or is there such a thing?
Well, stress is to some degree a choice. Okay. So if your business is going poorly and you're getting stressed about, because stress can sometimes paralyze you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're paralyzed, you don't think and you don't take action.
Right.
So one of the first things I tell people is that, stress and being stressed is not going to help you ever. What will help you is analyzing the situation and taking some action. Taking action is better than indecision. Taking action is better than no action. And that's one of the things a coach will help you do. A coach will kick your butt and say, hey, look, get off your keister.
But also,
do
action and
something.
accountability are obviously key skills the coach provides.
Absolutely. And that's another factor that is always valued by clients once they've been coached well. I've had people tell me like, yeah, I pretty much know what to do with my business now because you've taught me a lot, but I want to keep this relationship going because I need somebody to check me to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Well, you can't ever think of a great coach who wasn't Mr. Accountability or Miss Accountability, right?
That's right. They're always going to hold people accountable.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, this is really informative. I appreciate that. I feel like I need to go coaching right away, right? I've been a coach for, ever. So if people want to get a hold of you and, find out more, do you have a free discovery call or how do you get in touch with people? How does initiating some kind of conversation with you work?
Yeah. So there's a couple things. You could go to my website, fill out a request, fill out the form and request a consultation. That's easy. No matter what time of the day or night, I'll get the request and we can go from there. You could also just call me directly, 912-200-8100. And we do a free consultation. The first consultation is always free. There's no time limit on it. I'm going to ask you a lot of uncomfortable questions about your business during that consultation, but it will get you thinking and it will give me an idea what I can do to help you.
Okay.
So
and
that's
your website is Action Management Pros, right?
actionmanagementpros.com. That's right.
Okay, cool. So, and thank you for being here. I got to do this. If you like what you're doing here, don't forget to subscribe below. My son, who's doing the editing on these, says, Dad, you got to ask him to subscribe. Okay, fine. So if you like what we're doing, make sure you subscribe below. I keep forgetting to do that. We got a lot of interesting people here. Well, Chris, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And if people are smart, they'll at least give you a phone call and hear what you have to say, for sure. Good ideas.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me as a guest.